This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Janice Slagle for the Heartbeat of Human Services, and we are honored today to have a guest with us to talk about Purple Ribbon Month. We have Officer Tomas Martinez from the California Highway Patrol stationed here in Bakersfield. Welcome.
Thank you. The honor is all mine. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's great. We're so we were chatting earlier about you were born and raised in Bakersfield, right?
Yes,
Is that
born
right?
and raised, yes.
That's awesome. And so how did you get into, did you always want to be in law enforcement, or how did that kind of transition happen?
Well, I didn't join the department until I was 26 years old.
Okay.
So initially, I wasn't planning law enforcement. I actually wanted to be an attorney, or I always was interested in teaching criminology. So I attended Cal State Bakersfield after I graduated high school. I majored in criminal justice because when I entered in 2005, they were like, hey, by the time you graduate with your bachelor's, we will have a criminology program here for Cal State, hopefully still in the works because they still don't have it. But that was my initial plan. But it was actually a friend that kind of convinced me to apply because he wanted to apply as well to join the CHP. And you know what? I said, hey.
So you guys joined together?
Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him.
Oh, that's too bad.
It did work out eventually with another department, but
Okay.
it's treated me well. So
I'm glad. So how long have you been with the CHP then now?
So now it's coming up on 10 years, Halloween, October 31st. It will be 10 years for me. Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's an interesting time of year to join.
Yeah.
Did you, when you first started, were you on motorcycle or in vehicle or?
No, generally when you with our department, when you start, I know with the Kern County Sheriff Department, you start in detention, so the jail.
Okay.
Bakersfield Police Department, they start as patrol, just like us. We start patrol. I did start in central Los Angeles and downtown LA for 4 years before I came down here. Came back home to Bakersfield. But to get like on a motor, you still have to be a patrol officer first.
Okay.
And that's an additional training. So like a motor officer, a canine officer, a detective, or whatever other tasks you want to do. That would just be additional training that you would do after first completing your year of probation and becoming an officer.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Kind of got to grow into that one.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people might want to have that one. I don't know. After watching Chips as a youth, everybody likes that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised. We'll, at a lot of events, I try to take a motor with me because no one wants to talk to the guy in the car.
Isn't that
and
funny?
Everybody opens up to the person on the motorcycle. You see a guy that's kind of giving you a weird look, like he doesn't really care for you too much, but then a motorcycle officer shows up. Hey kids, come on, let's go with the motorcycle officer. Let's talk to him, take some pictures.
That's funny.
So that is funny.
Something about us and motorcycles, huh? Even though they can be dangerous, but I'm sure you guys have great training.
And, best training. But I'm still good. I don't think
You're still good. Yeah.
Hop on a motorcycle. I'm good now.
Right. So, and then now you're in the role of PIO, right? Public Information Officer. Is that a role that you wanted, or were you asked, or how did that kind of transition happen?
Well, it was something I was always interested in this position. When I was in downtown Los Angeles, when I worked in central Los Angeles, I wanted to do that. But initially, my wife and I, we knew we were coming home, so I didn't end up doing that. But now that, the great Officer Rodriguez finally, hey, who wants next in this? I was like, hey, it's something I've always wanted to do. Why not give it a shot? And here I am.
Oh, that's good. So you've been in this role for?
I just started in December, so December 2022. So still a little bit over 6 months, so hopefully let's see how long I can. They'll keep me here, I guess.
Yeah, you seem to be enjoying it. You seem perfect for it.
Oh, thank you. It's fun. I do enjoy it. It's a whole different side of the law enforcement that I enjoy.
That's good. I think it's important to have a person like you in that role so people, they're not afraid of law enforcement and they know that you're there to protect and serve and help. And so we asked you to come today because July is starting to get hot and CHP's protecting everybody on the highways. And so Caitlin's Law, we do this every year to talk about the importance of just reminding people it gets super hot in a vehicle, super fast.
Yep.
You see this happening often in Kern County or not? Do you have many calls about things like that?
You know what? When I was on patrol, I believe my first year in 2017, we did receive a call of an unattended child in a vehicle. This was during the summertime. It was around 100 and something degrees. This was actually a Mercado Latino, off of California and Chamberlain. Thankfully, by the time the sheriff and ourselves responded, the vehicle was no longer there. I'm assuming the parent got in the vehicle, we never got a call of the child possibly being transported to the hospital or call from the hospital, to do a check on the child. So thankfully
That's
nothing
good.
happened. I'm assuming everything went well. The kid was fine, but I have had calls like that in the past, but it's never been to where I've showed up and, this child is in the actual vehicle as
Right.
described.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have other law enforcement agencies responding to these kinds of things, and the fire department too. But the car can heat up to 140 degrees, and that is deadly. So what would you say to somebody if they did see a child left in a vehicle? What would you encourage them to do?
Yeah, definitely. With one thing the public needs to understand is there are eyes and ears.
Mm-hmm.
We won't respond unless we don't know. So if there's someone that sees that, they need to understand that, hey, it's okay. If you need to take action and save someone's life, or if there is time and you call 911 and you're able to wait for law enforcement, we just want description on the vehicle, how many kids are in the car, what are the conditions like. But if something where it's in an emergency, hey, you are protected if you happen to act on that to render aid or assist that person, possibly save their life.
Right. So under like the vehicle code, it's actually health and safety code, isn't it, for Samaritan's Law?
Yes, a Good Samaritan law.
Good
Yes.
Samaritan Law. So people can even take action and then call 911, of course. But if they have to break a window, they can under the Good Samaritan's Law. Of course, we don't encourage that unless it's an imminent risk, right? But the Good Samaritan Law is there for that purpose, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The legislators pass this for that specific purpose. They want and someone that's not a first responder to, hey, if you see this, hey, it's okay for you to jump in, render aid, and do something to help that person in that vehicle.
I'm your co-host Antoinette, and I'm interrupting today's podcast to highlight positions available at Kern DHS. We highly recommend applying if you're looking for a position that can help launch your career. The following positions are available: group counselor, human services aide, social service worker, and human services technician. Apply online today at kerncounty.com under the Careers tab. Thank you for listening, and now back to the podcast.
Caitlin's Law has been around since 2001, and we look at those stats. There have been actually, as of today, 10 child deaths in the U.S. due to hyperthermia. It's just, so that's why we keep talking about it, because people's brains can get fuzzy when they haven't slept, or there's a change in routine, things like that. So we're so glad the CHP is here to help us with this messaging, with Caitlin's Law, and to join forces with this. Is there any other, do you have other thoughts about Caitlin's Law that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think it's important. It's important that we realize as parents, I'm a father of 4, so I know sometimes we can't be in a hurry. We can't prevent the fact that the child's thrown up or the child just, dirtied their diaper.
Right.
I get that we're in a hurry, but sometimes people forget, have been incidents where the people forget about their child in their vehicle. Set a reminder, whether it be on your phone, put that phone in the diaper bag, put it in the front seat, somewhere where hey, I forgot something. Hey, bam, here's the diaper bag. So that means I have the kids with me, and that way that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because a couple seconds, like we talked about earlier, it could turn deadly. Everything happens very fast.
It does. And it seems like, when your kid falls asleep in the back, you're like, oh, thank you. They're sleeping, they're resting, relaxing, and then you can forget, like you said. So that's what we tell people, to put the diaper bag in front of you, even put your phone back there with the child, because people are, zeroed in on their phones. One of them that I heard to remember was to take off your shoes and put those in the back. So you would definitely remember getting out, not having my shoes on, to look in the back. So
yeah, definitely all that works. And
yeah, that's a tricky one.
And then I was thinking the key fob too. Sometimes you have to lock your vehicle. It's going to beep as soon as you walk away. Most of the vehicles now are all key fobs. They're all touch start, remote start. So even that, when you walk away, it'll beep. The vehicle will beep. Sometimes it'll honk that, hey, it's detecting the key fob in the vehicle still.
Yeah.
So then, hey, that's
a good
a quick
one. I like
reminder
that
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been looking at the legislators are trying to make vehicles so that there's a device that notifies you when you get out of the car that you have to look back there, or there's a noise or something, like, if you have something on your seat, it beeps when you get out. So there's some things going on to help with that too.
Yeah, and I can speak on that personally, because a pickup truck I just bought, I installed a car seat in the rear seat. And so anytime I put it in park and I turn it off, the screen illuminates and it beeps, look in rear seat, child in rear seat.
That's
so
awesome.
So yeah, I'm assuming it is a weight,
That's
like
why
you
they
stated.
did that.
Yeah, weight that says, hey, there's something in the back seat. reminder, look in the back seat. So
Hey,
that's very helpful there too.
Yeah, that is. When I was like younger, we didn't even have the laws for seatbelts when I was like 10 years old or whatever. So things have gotten better, haven't they? I mean, California's really good about making things safer in vehicles.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even with myself in my role, I mean, we emphasize the safety, hey, wear the seatbelt, it works. People rely on the airbags too much. And I've investigated crashes where this person wasn't wearing the seatbelt, the airbag caused some internal injury and they ended up, passing away from that injury. So so we do emphasize the seatbelt. So we try to enforce it a lot of times during days where there's high volumes of travel. Hey, we're focusing on drivers under the influence, speeders, and also people not wearing their seatbelts. These last fatal crashes we've had, these individuals were not wearing their seatbelts. So we do emphasize, hey, there's safety in these cars, but hey, let's just do it properly.
Right. Seatbelts are such an easy thing to do, and yet still people don't. I read things and I think, I guess they just forgot. But my car beeps too when I don't put my seatbelt on if I drive very far. But there's a lot of safety things. The other things we talk about during this month are safety in and around motor vehicles. So just reminding people to always lock their car, because there's times where kids can just climb in a car, right? Just for fun, and then they get stuck.
Yeah, anyone that has kids know that kids disappear within seconds. You turn to the left, by the time you look right, that child is gone. And there are some kids that, sometimes they do run around cars, in the front or the back. Some vehicles don't have those sensors or cameras and people fail to look. But yeah, kids like to play a lot. Maybe they want to hide in the car. So yeah, always lock your vehicle, know where you're placing your keys, and just make sure you double lock it. When you're walking back into the house, hey, just check that it's locked again, just to make sure.
That's good. And then we used to do a demonstration where we would have children line up behind a large SUV and see how many children it took before you actually could see them in the rearview mirrors. Because not all vehicles do have the cameras. Some of the older vehicles don't. So just precautionary checking around your vehicle, right? That's a good one.
Yeah, always check around your vehicles all the time. Actually, a fatal crash we had at the end of the last year. In this case, it was kind of devastating. The father shows up to the house. The uncle is leaving the driveway, but the father gets out of the car. A child that showed up, their son that showed up in a separate vehicle, saw the father, ran towards the car. And because the uncle had no clue that the child was running to hug the dad, ultimately the uncle ran over the child. So, so it is always, you always have to double check, just be cautious.
Take your time.
Just be safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other safety tips you'd like to leave us with today about just kids and cars in general?
Yeah. I mean, I just recently with our social media page, just July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. In 2022, our vehicle theft rate here in Kern County went up 8%. So the last thing we want to do is leave our child unattended and then possibly be victims of an abduction because the child was there with the vehicle. So vehicle theft is an issue here in Kern County. We just want you to, be safe, make sure you protect no valuables, but the most valuable thing is a child. Don't leave that child in that vehicle unattended.
That's good. Yeah. So if you do see a child left alone in a vehicle, the Caitlin's Law says it's written that a child 6 or under is not to be left alone in a motor vehicle unless they're with a child 12 or older. And so if you do see that and you're concerned, you can call 911. And you can also take action under the Good Samaritan Law. We just want to protect children and keep them safe. And lastly, Officer Martinez, could you clarify what area does CHP cover? Like we have Bakersfield Police, we have Kern County Sheriff, and CHP. What is your sort of jurisdiction?
So the California Highway Patrol, we cover the county jurisdiction. So that's why we kind of work hand in hand with Kern County Sheriff Department.
Okay.
Because that's who the Kern County Sheriff's Office, that's who we share that jurisdiction with. So
like certain areas that they aren't covering, that's your area kind of a thing. Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much anything that Bakersfield Police Department doesn't cover in the city, it's going to be us. We're there. So
that
we
makes
cover
sense.
that.
It's a huge county, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a lot. Our Bakersfield area covers a lot. We cover north all the way to county line, west all the way to the 5, east all the way to almost to Hatchepee, and then south at the 166. So we cover that whole square. So it is a large area that we have to cover.
And how many officers are there in Kern County, CHP, or Kern County? I don't know if that's a number,
Yeah. So with CHP Bakersfield, specifically us, actually, we are pretty low staffed. I got here in 2017. We're at about 87 officers. Currently, officers on patrol, I believe we're in the 50s, low 50s.
So you're probably hiring. That's enough, right? Always hiring.
Yes, we are hiring right now. We're pushing to hire 1,000 officers, you know.
Okay.
The salary is great, you know, the retirement, the benefits, pension, everything is. We're trying to get more help because we're just short-staffed all up and down the state. So, and especially here in Bakersfield.
So if people are interested in a career in CHP, they would chp.gov. Is that your website?
So actually, CHP Made for More.
Okay.
And actually, you can go on there and apply. You fill out the application. They'll respond with some follow-up information and then a date when you can take the written test. But yeah, it's all so easy now. You know, you can call us locally here at 661-396-6600. That's our office here in Bakersfield. But yeah, just even if you go on Google, you know, chp.com.
It's easy to find
and
you.
it'll find you. And hey, just apply now. We're trying to make it more easily, more convenient. Our social media, we try to put something up twice a week about, hey, this is how to apply. We're hiring. Come help.
That's good.
You know, be a part of this solution to help the public, you know?
Definitely. We need more people out there to protect and serve. And so if any of you are interested, we encourage you to check that out. And also, if you do see a child left in a vehicle and you're concerned, you call 911 and those dispatchers will figure out who to call. And for more information about Purple Ribbon Month or Caitlin's Law, you can go to our website at kcdhs.org. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me so much. I enjoyed it a lot. Hopefully I'll be back.
I hope so too.
I'm your co-host, Paola Hernandez, and welcome to today's Mindful Minute. Today I will be sharing an obvious mindful minute, but have you ever considered meditating at the beach? I recently visited the beach and found it to be incredibly relaxing and rejuvenating. The sound of the waves and the salty breeze provides the perfect atmosphere for meditation, or even practicing yoga. Whenever I visit the beaches in Santa Barbara, you can always find a yogi out in the sand. It's a great way to take some time for yourself and find inner peace. And with the heat cranking up this summer, it's a good excuse for us Central Valley folks to head to the beach. Give it a try and start planning your weekend getaway. This has been your Mindful Minute.
Thank you for joining us for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast today. We hope you'll join us next time.